Alright, so single back doubles out of the Atlanta Falcons playbook. We'll start off by just going to personnel. I do not have the ideal personnel with the Cowboys, but I use the Cowboys because I want to. I will tell you what the ideal personnel is though. You want to have gunslinger if you can get it on quarterback, or any of those other pass lead, elite abilities. Those are always great. So Aaron Rodgers is amazing. Um, Halfback, if you can get, I'm gonna use Reg's comparisons because that's what I know. If you can get like Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, somebody with that backfield mismatch, that's a plus because he catches the rock a lot. You do a lot of running as well, so I mean, you get somebody that can run the ball. But I mean, if you got a running back that's catching the rock, you're never gonna go wrong. Fullback doesn't matter. Wide receiver, the one thing you do need in this offense is one outside apprentice. If you have two, that works. But if you only have one, then you just use the wide receiver flip, depending on which side of the field you're on. So you're good either way. So you want good route runners for number one and number two. Number three, you really want speed. Like I said, that's ideal. One of my slowest receivers is actually my number three, and I keep him there, CD Lamb. But he's on a seam that beats a lot of coverages over top. So speed is ideal. If you have it, use it. I'm not interested in it. I'm just having fun with the Cowboys right now. It's the end of the year. Tight end. This is another one that I would recommend if you're you're budgeting your AP or whatever they say in MUT. You want to look for a tight end that has that short and elite, or short and elite. Maybe mid and elite too, but short and elite especially because he's on a lot of drags and a lot of quick digs, and that really sets the pace for the offense because you're going to be making people respect this route right here. Between his route and some of the things the running back's doing, those two, you're really going to make your opponents respect the underneath routes, right? Your offensive lineman now, we're going to be doing a lot of pulling. So you want that puller elite, if that's still a thing in Madden, on your right guard, your left guard. That would be ideal. Nasty streak on guards and tackles because they get to the second level and they're going to be knocking people on their asses. So that's not a bad thing either. Alright, so I already have my Audibles set up, but I'll show you what they are. So doubles is 2 clicks to the left. If you need to do wide receiver flip, it's 4 clicks to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. And I'll just put it back. So I use PA draw shot, 0-1 trap, X under Y cop, and Z spot. And here they are. There's the PA draw shot. There's the 0-1 trap. Sorry, there's draw shot again. I went a little quickly. There is the Z spot. And here goes X under Y cop. I'll show you what I use all those for, but before I do, PA boot comeback is actually really good. Y'all understand how the crosses and all those things work. You will see me use that a little bit in gameplay, but I don't use it a whole lot because I just find that some of the other plays are a little bit more effective in terms of the way I like to run it. The same thing with PA fork Y corner. The truth of the matter is, I turn X under Y cop into a fork. 90% of the time I run it anyway, but I just prefer the routes. In X under Y cop, so I use that instead. And then the goal line fade is very interesting. That post is extremely good, but the split of the wide receivers sucks. The solo wide receiver, the red route on the fade, he actually lines up, I want to say it's closer to the line of scrimmage than on every other play in this formation, so it ends up being a tell because he moves if you're audibling to or from the goal line fade play. So unless you're calling fade from the play call screen and actually running it, it's a waste of time. So slot seam, first thing I'm going to do is just show you a couple of the beaters real quick, right? And then we'll get into how I actually run the offense. So if and when you find yourself in a position where you need to take advantage of somebody, if you know they're in a cover 2, and a lot of times you see that receiver over B and over X, those vertical stems, those defenders are on the outside and they're both aligned about 5 yards back. You see the two safeties. I don't have to go over this too much. You all understand how this works. You can usually bet that that's a cover 2 and you take a shot, and if it's not, it's not. You'll always have other reads. But if you do see that, and if you do want to take advantage of it, and if you are correct, then of course that's the seam that beats cover 2. And like I said, you really want to have speed there. Alright, so that's cover 2, straightforward. And like I said, we're just going to roll through a couple of these beaters real fast, and then I'll show you some of the actual setups that I use. So we'll go to seam again because seam actually does against cover 3. This is a cover 3 press, but doesn't really matter. He'll still get that same hole between these 3 defenders pretty much. That was a bad throw. I actually led him to the wrong spot. The press does throw it off a little bit, but all that means is I gotta come down into the inside more. And you get it, right? So that does cover 2 and cover 3 with ease, right? Now, when you are talking about a match coverage, this is why I keep X under Y cop, and this is also why we need, not just match, it's match, but it's also cover for drop. I want to do drop first because so many people like that coverage. I won't get into how much I hate it because I do every single time I make a video. But so what I typically do is this. You can see this is gonna beat up a lot of things. Match coverages, man coverages, all 3 of these routes give everything hell. You have the slant coming underneath, which is amazing. You can release the tight end late if you need to. But that X receiver, my controller is really giving me a lot of trouble today, by the way. But let's see. So the X receiver, that's Mark Cooper. Give him enough time and he will blow by cover 4 drop. I mean, absolutely annihilate cover 4 drop. But we know that skinny posts do that, right? I will run a couple of the match coverages, but you guys already know it's gonna do it to match coverage. So I'm not gonna make this video any longer than it needs to be. Here we go. Over top. See you later. We out, right? I'm just gonna do the same thing to cover 0, but I will call cover 0 because the truth of the matter is we are gonna beat cover 0 with a couple things. So we can show that real fast. So let's go into cover 0. Actually, I want to go ahead and just come out in slot seam really quickly because I want to show how I mix things up a little bit against cover 0. So let's go man blitz and let's go random, right? So if it's a press, which it doesn't look like, Y will sometimes win off the press, but it wasn't a press, we just get rid of that. B beats man a lot. But anyway, so if I see cover 0, that route, the gallop is on, he'll get past his man, and I did not, you know what I should do? Let me just put the receiver on the tight end on the block for the purposes of the video. You see, he gets open, wide open. My controller is really blowing ass right now. Oh, here we go. That might be better. Let me throw that away. Yeah, my controller keeps connecting and disconnecting and driving me crazy. All right, so let's try that again. So B receiver walks past his man, walks to the end zone. If you let him take one more step. Now. This setup against cover 0, depending on what time you hit. Jesus, my controller's doing it again. This is unbelievable, bro. I'm sorry about this. This is driving me nuts. I guess that's what I get for not playing since February. My controller's like, yeah, you're not gonna get away with doing that to us. So anyway, you see against man, all of these guys are beating man. So anyway, now I'm gonna show you the setups that I actually use, like how I'm running the offense when I come out. So I'm starting the game, and we are going to typically gonna put the 2 receivers on the far side of the field. I'll come out of slot seam. That's called a random play. Okay, so there are a few setups I use with seam. Seam is my base play. You can run it stock. You can use a quick dig instead of the stock dig, or you can use a drag. I prefer drag. That is my go-to because it's quicker. But if I need to get to a certain depth, then I don't mind doing the quick dig just to get a couple yards because I know it's 4th and 3 or something along those lines, right? But for the most part, I run a dig. I'm a drag, sorry. And now the other thing that's optional is this route. He can stay on the comeback, and since he has the apprentice, you can also put him on this. I hardly ever use it, but it is a good route. But what I do most of the time is, and my controller is bugging again. I'm gonna have to replace this thing for Madden 22. But for the most part, I put him on a smart route to dig. So this ends up taking care of everything. So if you watch the routes, you'll be able to read the tight end and see if he's open or not on the drag. And then you'll be able to come back to the running back as he makes his move. And then right once the running back makes his move and you determine whether he's open or not, you'll see as far as timing goes, you're going to be able to read B as well. Now, of course, once you get in the hang of things, you'll be able to know if you should be looking at Y or not. And then if you feel like you need to wait on the dig, you can do that as well. So I'm going to let it play out and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm saying. There goes A, RB, and I knew that was a blitz, so it's not going to let it play out. Let's see if we get a defensive coverage that allows us to let the routes develop a little bit. Yeah, 4 rushing, we should be okay there. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so I'm gonna go to a quick replay so you can kind of see the progression, because this setup really is important. I won't be doing this for everything, but I will be doing it for this setup in particular. I might do it for a couple, come to think of it, but anyway. So let's watch. I'm a mental patient for that one. Let's watch the tight end. He cuts across the middle of the field. Is he open? Is he not? Boom. Running back makes his move. See, so after you read the tight end, like say he's covered right there, then you just look over here to the running back, because he makes this move and this is where you want to be looking for him. And by there, you'll already know if there's a defender in his space, you're not going to pass it. If he's here, he's obviously wide open. But you make this read from the running back, you look up, okay, he's covered. And if you wait 2 seconds more, actually half a second more, you see that receiver makes his break on the out route. So if you watch just those 3 for a minute, you see how the progression works. Read the drag, read the running back, read the receiver. It's perfect progression. And then if they're all covered, you can come back over here and look at the receiver moves on the deep dig. So that's a Murray. So you're gonna go drag, halfback, gallop, Cooper. And of course, you're gonna get used to taking a look up there, add CD Lamb before you even make those reads. But more often than not, you'll know pre-snap if CD's the read. So you look at CD, nothing happening. Then you look at your drag, you look at your running back, look at your out route, look at your dig. This is ridiculously hard to stop. I don't care what your opponent calls, he's going to have to make a lot of adjustments. Once he starts making those adjustments, you start hitting him with things that are going to throw him off, right? So he knows the tight end is one of the first things he has to cover, right? So I call PA draw shot, and I put the tight end on a drag or a dig, boom, boom, boom. Okay, so he's chasing that now, right? Chase the tight end. And this just leaves him wide open for a very, very easy catch. Because on this play, he's on an out route. But now he's on a cross that you were just not prepared for, right? I'm not doing a lot with draw shot. I really am mostly doing that. I tell you what I am doing though. This is one of my favorite setups. It's the same thing I showed that I used the beta for. But again, and depending on what it is you're trying to do, you got this as well. So now you got to use the who's chasing the tight end again, or even if you're doing this, waiting on the tight end again. And this guy is doing a slant as opposed to an out route. This dude is doing a corner as opposed to a seam, and this dude is doing a post as opposed to a deep dig. So everything that you were setting up for when I do this setup, none of it's gonna work for this setup, right? So once you see these adjustments start being made, you're really gonna be able to take advantage of users. And that's why this ends up coming in as a, every now and again, because for the most part, I'm really reading A, B, and RB here. Axe does get open over the top a little bit late sometimes, depending on the coverage and how much time you have. But I'm not really throwing that often. I'm not really waiting for that route that often. And now Z-spot. You guys know how I feel about Z-spot. So here's the thing with Z-spot, right? This is a very easy setup. If I'm in the open field, this is what I'm typically doing with Z-spot. I'm just putting CD on the whip. Now the reason is, this is going to be my first read. Now this read is a little different from the seams read in that I'm looking at one player to determine what else I'm going to be looking at. And when you start playing against better players, it's not going to be as easy because they might mix some things up. But for the most part, you'll be able to tell if it's a zone or if it's man as soon as you look at this one guy, right? When you got zones, you can typically throw this one time, right? And if they press him and it's zone, you'll also know because they're going to back off. But you'll know when it's man. So if you read man, let's stay with zone. If you read zone, you can either hit B fast right away. You can also wait for B to sit if he's in a hole, or you can read B and A. So let's go look at that. And the deep dig is always going to be good against zone and man. So the deep dig is a good last read. I just ruined the instant replay by pressing select instead of start. So let's go show you that one more time. Put it against a random play. Back to the Z spot. See, now, hey, this might actually be man. So if you read man, of course, you got a man beating route in CD land, the whip, and the dig. So you're pretty much looking at B, and it's actually a zone again. So stay zone, you stay over here with these 3 routes, and the deep dig on the back end, of course. If you end up looking at man, and this one could be, let's see. If you end up seeing man, then you got the whip, boom, boom. You got the deep dig, boom, boom, right? And that was a bad pass. Coop's supposed to win that. But anyway, see, so we got all these easy reads. Now, here's the thing. Any of y'all know me, you know how I feel about that deep dig down in this area. And if you watch the gameplay, you'll see I throw it consistently, because deep digs are part of what I do. I do the same setup real fast. Actually, I'll do that different because I don't like I like all short routes down here, and I'm gonna get nailed. But you see the look at the deep dig. That's not fair. I shouldn't have been able to throw that. But anyways, deep digs get open in the back of the end zone. It just is what it is. So setups that I do down here though, I don't typically do the whip. I shouldn't say that. I do the whip, but I don't just do the whip. So I might do the whip. Put A on the flat, RB on the wheel. Oh, and guess what? I do the flat wheel. I gotta do it to this side, man. I'm on the wide side, don't I? So I do something like that. But what I'm really gonna do is I'll put A on a curl. I'll put RB on this check and release. So this gives you 5 very good reads against coverage, and you're really just looking to see who that's open. See, so right there got the hitch, you know. So this, you just scan the field, and if the user's on the left side, I'm looking to the right side, vice versa, so on and so forth. And you would actually be surprised how much that tight end route actually gets open. He gets left alone. Look at that, called it. He gets left alone and open a lot. So that's pretty much honestly how I'm running the offense in that regard. Now if we end up on the left hash, of course, now my receivers are going to be to the boundary, and I'm not going to run doubles with my receivers to the boundary. If my receivers end up on the boundary, I'll stay in seam, and I will hitch Y, put X on the post, and put A on and out. This is one of my favorite setups, and your reads very similar. This route does a lot of work. I'm telling you, you get this guy, and space gets cleared out a lot, especially when you have that trips to the boundary. Another thing against cover 2, and this might be, you know what, this might be cover 2. I don't do it a lot in game, but this is a sneaky good little dot if you need to pick up a couple yards. Against cover 2, that B route. Okay, no, that's not. It wasn't cover 2. I was wrong. But the B route actually gets open quick against cover 2. Anyway, like I said, I don't do it a lot in game, so I'm not gonna try to force it. The other thing I would do is put A on a drag and Y on a curl. So A and Y end up a high-low read, and then you got B, RB, and of course X doing their thing. You gotta get that drag thrown right there because you're just under too much heat. And of course, I would also go to Y under because I absolutely love this play. Oh, actually I want to put X on a slant. Now I would either put B on a flat and A on a flat. See, so you got high lows on either side, or I will use the mash concept. See, so either one works. And then the other option, when we find ourselves jammed up like this, is to move this guy over here. And when I do that, I actually turn him into a proper streak. Put A on the curl, put X on the drag, block RB. This is something I've been doing since the first year I started the game. It's something that or what the dude name now. I can't even think of the dude right now. When it comes to me, I let y'all know. It's been that long I've been out of the game. Civil. This is something Civil kind of made popular the year. He was rocking things in the MCS. And to be honest, it's an unbelievably good setup. I absolutely love it. See, so right there, if you did it, your dig's gonna get open, right? Unless they're doing, your out's gonna get open unless they're doing something insane. So B should be open, no problem. and I threw it early. But anyway, so that's one of the setups. The other thing I will do from here. Oh, I actually leave him on this post because now, when you give yourself these double crosses, I mean, you're creating trouble. So you can put a flat, or you can do a flat and a wheel. I mean, you really give yourself a lot of opportunities now when you have the two crosses, because as y'all know, I mean, one's a post and one's a crosser, but they're spaced in a way that you would be doing if you're doing double crosses or something along those lines. You can do a lot of different things now. I mean, you don't have to. Yeah, see, I mean, this is gonna work all sorts of kinds of ways, right? Because you just got tons of options. You can even put him on an out route and create room for this, because now you got something pushing zones to the outside, something bringing zones to the inside. Now these setups, I'm actually still working on, and you see, just you're gonna have tons of different concepts that you're gonna want to mix with this look here. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go and hop in a game.